This is Think Smart with TMFG, the weekly podcast of what's newsworthy and relevant to everyday Canadians. I'm your host, Senior Financial Advisor Mike Connon of CI Assante Wealth Management. Welcome to Think Smart with TMFG. I'm Mike Connon. This is Carlo Cansino, Senior Financial Advisor with CI Assante Wealth Management. So today, Carlo, I'm going to talk. We're discussing before this speech. There was a speech by Mark Carney at this Davos convention, and we want to talk about why that was so important and what difference it makes in the world. And you know, the interesting thing, I guess, to answer that. There haven't been many standing ovations at these events.
Right.
It's not like when you go to a show and everyone gets up and the
That's just
orchestra
expected
goes. It's just expected when you go see the end of it. A standing ovation at an economic or a summit like this is a very unusual thing to happen. Mm-hmm. And I think there's another two examples they gave. One was Nelson Mandela, and I forget the other one. Mm-hmm. But Mark Carney got a standing ovation at the end of this. So this shows you the importance of what this speech was.
Yeah, a lot of his peers were very impressed with what he had to say. Even people coming out of the U.S., I know that the governor of California really backed what Carney was saying, and he looked very classy, very strong. It was great to see our leader perform so well on the world stage.
Yeah, it's funny when I go through and listen to it again. I guess it's hard to say he's not a smart guy.
Right.
I mean, I had to take my dictionary out.
Yeah, for a few. I was pausing it here and there.
Pause, look that up and figure out what it was. He started off with the whole speech started with this concept of an essay that was written about communism.
Yep.
And it was called The Power of the Powerless. And it was an interesting thing. What it was trying to do was explain how communism lasted through all those years. And it did last for a long time. We know it had some issues at the end, but how did it manage to get by? We know it's a broken system. Mm-hmm. So how did it manage to pull off all those years? And I guess you had this idea where retailers and shop owners would put signs in their window that would just say, what was it?
Workers of the world unite.
Yeah. So it was trying to get people together to believe in this whole thing. Well, if we all keep on going at this and we all work in the same direction, mm-hmm. this is going to work out fine. Was it really true?
No, not necessarily. I mean, people just had blinders on. If they wanted it, even though they didn't believe necessarily in what was going on, as long as they kept doing it, and the system would continue.
It's believing in the lie, right? As long as everyone believes in the lie, it's going to be okay. But the problem is, as soon as one crack happens in that,
right,
and when the retailers takes that sign down and says, "Hey, this isn't really working for us. You know, we're starving here. Look at the rest of the world; they're mm-hmm. prospering, and we keep on saying workers of the world unite in this mm-hmm. communism type system. It hasn't given me any reward. I'm pulling that sign down.
Right.
Then the next person walks past, "Hey, Joe pulled his sign down." What do you mean, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Joe says, this isn't really working. You're right. I'm going to pull my sign down, too.
Right.
As soon as that belief cracks, then things fall apart. And we saw that happen with communism. So that was one of the starts of the speech where he was trying to explain what goes on over time. And, you know, you can live in the system of lies for a period of time, mm-hmm. but once the cracks start to show up, they keep on going.
Right.
So I guess the next thing was he talked about something he'll call a rules-based order.
Yep.
Now, I was talking to this was about a year ago, I was talking to one of my kids, and they were discussing their sociology classes.
Okay.
And again, it's interesting because they have different things that we learned in university. And there was this thing called the shopping cart experiment, right? And when you go to the grocery store, do you bring your shopping cart back inside or put in that thing?
Well, I'd probably get hung if I said that I didn't.
Yeah.
But yes, I do. I mean, it just makes sense. That's what you do. That's the rule with a shopping cart. You put it away.
But is there a rule? Is there anything written that says you have to
I think it's just understood.
It's sort of understood.
Yeah.
Is there a punishment if you don't bring it back?
Zero punishment.
Is there going to be a ticket, or is anyone going to fine you?
Nothing.
Not really. I mean,
no.
If you're shopping at No Frills, you don't get your quarterback, I guess.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But other than that, this is a system that we all accept, that living in this society, we're going to follow this type of rule. And not everyone does. You'll find the odd shopping cart, so someone's going to do that, but most people will do it. The world has followed this type of system over the past bunch of decades, right? And we've dealt with these companies. These countries. They were always very reasonable. We understood what fair trade was. We understood what people should do. we understood how things worked, and everyone was in all agreement on that, and we all returned our shopping carts, right? And all of a sudden, someone in the agreement decided they weren't going to return their shopping carts anymore, and said, "What are you going to do about it?"
Right.
And this is the problem we've run into. So the world functioned very well, but unfortunately, once people start to disobey that, you have to come up with a different system.
Well, we've got these associations set up, whether it be the WTO or the UN or NATO, and there are rules. And as a member, you follow those rules, and it's just understood that that's what we do. But when one of the members decides that it doesn't make sense for them anymore.
Yeah, and the biggest member.
Yeah, well, exactly. The one that can bully other people.
Yeah. So that's where we get into the next piece of the speech. And it was talking about a term I've never really heard before.
Right.
We'll call the middle powers. So what would you describe as a middle power?
Well, I would describe the middle powers as not the superpowers, and I think we all know who the superpowers would be. But the middle powers would be, the ones that may have a seat at the table, but not necessarily have the backing, whether it be economically or militarily, to really move the needle.
Yeah, important.
Yeah,
but they're not the whole. There's, if you look at superpowers, what are they? U.S., China. Or maybe Russia,
right?
In there that are superpowers, and in there in the world, and there's other ones that are sort of on there. Like if you go to India, it's a large country with a good military. There's other people that are in there, but there's a lot of these normal countries that are very important. I'll say most of Europe is in that area.
Yep.
Canada, other areas that are all middle powers.
Yes.
We count, but we can't go take over the world. If
Right.
we want.
Exactly.
So as a middle power. I guess the one problem is we can be economically crushed by any of these superpowers anytime they want to. So the only chance a middle power has to survive over long term, if no one's playing fairly anymore, if everyone's decided, okay, I'm just going to look out for me, is if the middle powers can combine to become a superpower as such.
Right.
Right. So this is the whole idea that these middle powers, if we can actually come up with a deal where we all work as one, we act as a superpower.
Right. And you'll get those countries that, those middle powers that are looking to form those coalitions, those alliances where, we all have like-minded goals and aren't the superpower. So we all have to band together in order to be able to compete.
But the problem is you can have no weasels.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the big problem with this idea, because along the way, what can happen is if one country in this area decides to sign a better deal with one of these superpowers, and they because they can always get a better deal on the side because they don't want to deal with the superpower. So it needs to be a strong alliance, and we have to come up with the idea that this is how we're going to do business in the future, and no one signs any little side deals and comes up with everything. So that's the concept in there. I guess the next part of the speech that was good was talking about Canada. Right. We're a great country. As Carney went to say, we're an awesome country. In the world, if you're going to deal with a country and you want a middle power, there's no one better than Canada.
Right.
And a few reasons. Number one is we're very self-sufficient. Where we've known to be an honest trading partner.
Yes.
We haven't screwed anyone along the way.
Right.
We do what we say. If we sign deals, we keep to them. We're a very honest trading partner. The other thing about Canada is I didn't realize this, and I looked it up. We're the most educated country in the world.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
What's that stat?
And it's just, and I went and looked up because he said we're the most educated country in the world. I looked up and Canada's number 2. Believe it or not, Ireland came up number 2 too.
Oh, little shameless plug there for Mike.
But we have a very highly educated society, which makes it great to do business with. I mean, we have the number one, we have all the resources.
Yes.
And we have the human resources.
Right.
And we're a very diverse society too. When you look around Canada, Canada's one of the most diverse countries in the world. We bring the greatest from everywhere, and educate them well, and have an ability to do business with all these other nations.
So I think with all of these strengths that we have, we should be able to be desirable to form an alliance with.
Absolutely.
And then, partner up with other middle powers so that we're not crushed or bullied by the superpowers that we've already talked about.
So I'll talk about a few things that I really liked about the speech. As we talked about in the stuff, he did get standing ovation. It was a brilliant speech. Carney's a smart dude. I mean, no matter what political stand you have
Right.
In Canada, whether you're conservative or you're liberal
Right.
or whichever party you're with, you got to go and listen to that speech. Go, oh, that's a pretty smart guy. At the end of the day, you may like him or may not like
Right.
him, but there's no doubt he's not someone who's simple in any sense of the term.
Yeah, there was a sense of pride watching him speak and the ovation that he got. I don't know if I would have felt the same way if our former prime minister would have been at the World Economic Forum delivering a speech like that. I don't think it would have been capable of. But I felt, again, depending on what what party you follow, I felt very proud.
And the other thing is, he wrote the speech.
Right.
This
yes.
wasn't a speech.
Yeah.
This was written by him. Things I'll say is his vocabulary is very high level, right? And this speech wasn't meant for the public. When you go and listen to it, you realize pretty quickly this is not meant to go to just your average person to hear. This is the top of every country in the world, so it's a pretty advanced audience he has, and the speech was meant to appeal to that. So it was a very good speech. But it was a pretty advanced speech too.
Well, I mean, when you're speaking to, like you said, leaders of other countries, business leaders of very Fortune 500 companies who are all there because it's very important to their businesses to hear what the ideas are from a global standpoint.
Yeah, and hopefully other countries will listen to it and come in. So I guess what we take from this is when we look back in the speech, like along the way, number one, he gave us detail on how the rules-based order used to work and how that's come to an end. So we understand times have changed.
Yes.
We have to deal with that. We had a good piece on we now know we're a middle power.
Yes.
We have to accept it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
We're not going to be a superpower, and we know that middle powers have to get together. And we know out of all the middle powers, Canada is probably one of the best ones to deal with in the future. And that's a real advantage we have. And hopefully everything, these countries can all get together and work out to be a new economy moving forward.
Right.
So, Carlo, after hearing all the stuff that happened at Davos, what should our clients do, or should they make any changes to their portfolio? I mean, we said the whole economic situation changed in the world; everything is changing. Should we make any adjustments to that?
It's surprising how many times this question has come up in our meetings after the speeches occurred, and our narrative doesn't change. Our messaging doesn't change. You are in a globally diversified portfolio, and that's where we need to be. We are owning the entire publicly traded market, and as we've determined that different countries will, with their different partnerships, will perform well, but we just don't know when, and so we need to have exposure everywhere.
And I guess that's the reason why we've always kept this globally diverse. We don't pick a country, right?
No.
Because if you pick the winner, you might end up on the wrong end of it.
Right.
We always have a little bit of a tilt toward Canada, and you're always wondering how much to tilt toward Canada. I do feel, after hearing that speech, Canada is a pretty good country to have a bit of a tilt toward. You always have that home bias, but if you're going to have a home bias to a country, we're a pretty good country to have it toward.
No, I agree. And the idea of trying to time which country or which geographic region to get into and when, I think is a fool's game. I think even when we think about what was happening back in April when tariffs were just announced, I mean, the immediate reaction would have been to get out of Canada because all of these tariffs were going to have an impact on how profitable these Canadian companies could be. But I think we saw by the end of the year what actually happened.
Yeah. A globally diversified, balanced portfolio is like an armor around your financial situation.
And the key is to just stay in that armor, stay in the globally diversified portfolio, knowing full well that some countries aren't going to perform well, but you will have exposure to the countries that do. It's just we don't know when that's going to happen.
Absolutely.
So to our listeners, if you do want help understanding how global power shifts could influence your finances or strategies in your business or career planning, check the episode description. Feel free to schedule a meeting with us or download our free resource, and that's 10 mistakes that investors make for actionable insights.
That brings us to the end of another episode of Think Smart with TMFG. Thank you very much and have a great day. Thank you for listening to the Think Smart podcast. I'm Mike Connon with the McClelland Financial Group of CI Assante Wealth Management. Don't forget to subscribe to Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, and leave us a review. For more insights and resources, visit tmfg.ca or follow the link in the episode description.
This program was prepared by Michael Connon, who is a senior financial advisor with CI Assante Wealth Management Limited. This is not an official program of CI Assante Wealth Management Limited, and the statements and opinions expressed during this podcast are not necessarily those of CI Assante Wealth Management Limited. CI Assante Wealth Management Limited is a member of the Canadian Investor Protection Fund and the Canadian Investment Regulatory Organization. This show is intended for general information only and may not apply to all listeners or investors. Please obtain professional financial advice or contact me at 905-771-5200 or visit tmfg.ca to discuss your circumstances prior to acting on the information presented.